Hey, good day. This is Greg Lewis, the city manager here in Lebanon. Welcome to Lebanon in Depth. Today it's my pleasure that the firefighters are with us today, and I really enjoy working with our firefighters. We have today a couple of our leaders, our union president of the firefighters, Eric James, and we also have with us Patrick Ericson. Patrick, what's your role in the union? Are you an officer in the union too?
I'm the secretary.
So you're secretary in the union. It's really a pleasure to work with the firefighters union. We've had some good conversations. We get together and talk about what's best for the city. Like I always do, I always ask guests on the show to give a little background to the members of the public as the people that we have the opportunity to work with. I'm really lucky to be with you guys. So maybe you should start us out, Eric. Why don't you talk a little bit about yourself and how did you get into being in firefighting?
Again, my name's Eric. I'm originally from Burlington, Vermont, and I spent a couple of years living there, and then ultimately grew up down in Maryland, just south of Baltimore, Maryland, and went to school out in Colorado. I got a degree in geology, actually, and then after I left college, I became a high school teacher. I taught high school math for about 5 or 6 years, yeah. And then in the process of that, I became a volunteer firefighter, and I really liked that. I realized it's what I wanted to do as a career. Didn't really want to be a teacher anymore, so I kind of transitioned over. And ultimately, I moved up to Lebanon. Was just 5 years ago now. Pat and I both got hired here at the same time.
Oh, well, that's great. So it's 5 years, huh?
5 years on the job, yeah. And I went through, city put me through paramedic school, and I've loved every minute of it. That's
really,
how I got here.
That's really good. I mean, I think it's interesting how many people have multiple careers in our lives, because we start off in one direction and not quite knowing where we're going. Right. Then we find something that really kind of just appeals to you, kind of gets to you, just get the feel that this is the right thing for me.
Right.
That's really, really nice. Well, how about you, Patrick?
Originally from Keene, born and raised. I moved up here in 2007 when we got hired. My wife Stephanie and I bought a house in West Lebanon. We have a happy, handsome 7-month-old baby boy now.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And got into the firefighting business right from the get-go. My father has been on the job down in Keene for 20 plus years, and I have a long family history of aunts, uncles, grandfathers.
So you have a family that's been involved a great deal in firefighting over the years, and just kind of grew up in a place where people are a lot of. It's really interesting firefighter families. It's incredible how many firefighter families we have.
And like Eric, the city put myself through paramedic school as well. And
yeah, it's interesting. People. I don't know if people fully understand that we have. Our firefighters are cross-trained, and we have paramedics and firefighters. So I think that's quite a range of skill sets to go from those roles back and forth, and never knowing what role you're going to play, because you never know what the call is going to be, right?
Yep.
I think that's one of the challenges of the fire service these days, and what draws a lot of people to it now is there's so much to it. It's not just pulling a hose and putting a fire out anymore. There's the medical side is pretty complex and a lot of different hazards.
Yeah. And I know today we're going to spend some time talking about the fitness and the training, and that's really good. And if we have a little time left over, we might talk about just a few things casually. But one of the topics was chosen was fitness. I have this really incredible impression of how much stamina and how much techniques and how much endurance must be practiced by firefighters who have this rush. I just would think you have a rush of adrenaline coming out of call, and you're headed to places you don't know what you're going to go into, and you start doing it, and to be able to be physically able to do that. So I think it's good to share with the public. I mean, how's about the fitness and the wellness and all this. And I know that also you believe in fitness and wellness throughout the community. So I think that let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, I think what initiated it for us was, partly a couple years ago, the contract we're currently working under, we got a physical fitness clause in there that allowed us to work out on duty and obviously off duty. But so that initiated starting a more serious physical fitness program, and that really came out of a big concern that's been, I'd say, throughout the fire service just nationwide, where a lot of the line of duty deaths are, it turns out, coming from heart attacks and cardiac problems, whether it's underlying or just stress from the job. And so one of the ways we were thinking we could deal with that is better physical fitness. I mean, we have the fire service in general. We have a lot of people that are really into it, and some people that are less so. So the idea was if we put together a program that would allow everyone to have access to it, then we would help.
In
prevent
2010, there were 87 firefighter fatalities, line of duty deaths, and 55 of those were considered stress/overexertion, which include heart attacks or stroke-like symptoms.
Yes.
So obviously we can't control, to an extent, the situations we put ourselves into as far as the products of combustion and heat, but we can control what we eat, and our level of fitness to.
Could we do, let's talk a little bit about the detail of the fitness program and what it entails for persons that participate in it.
Well, I guess the initial kickoff to it was we sent 2 of our guys to there's a program that's a joint between the International Association of Firefighters and the International Association of Fire Chiefs. It's called the Peer Fitness Training Program. And so Pat and another guy with the department, firefighter Clattenburg, they went down to a program in North Carolina to be trained as actual trainers. And so then the idea is they come back and they can train us and make sure we're doing stuff right. I mean, you can talk
train
a
the
little about
trainer
that.
kind of.
Exactly.
They get that information, then they come back and then they provide the training and people pick up on it.
Right. The fitness wave kind of in Lebanon has taken over really in the last 2 years. There was always a few guys on the department that did stuff individually. But now it's almost as a whole, you see people really embracing the lifestyle, whether it's in the kitchen, the meals have changed from hamburgers and steaks every night to now you're seeing salads and guys are eating, chicken. And the physical fitness part of it, the fire chief gave us permission to use what used to be an old training room that we were kind of impromptu using on our own. But we've since overhauled the room. West Lebanon Feed and Supply donated some horse stall mats, the rubber mats that we use for our flooring. They gave us a really good deal on those. And the union's gone out and spent quite a bit of money on the actual equipment.
Oh, that's great.
So now we actually have an acceptable area to actually get in and work on it.
It's I always have to to tout some of our local businesses when they get engaged and supporting them. And I know the West Lebanon Feed and Supply are kind of an exemplar of the highest values of business, the community, come forward in a public safety arena and lend a hand and do these things, these small things that become large things. That's kind of neat.
And we were lucky in the fact that we had proposed for the last few years to the chief and through the chief to the city council, somewhat getting the program sponsored, but obviously in these fiscal times, they didn't approve it. So without the donations, we've had some equipment donated by one of our members' sisters.
Oh, nice.
So without the donations,
Hartford Firefighters.
Hartford Fire Department donated an exercise bike that they had that was extra. So yeah, we're very lucky.
That's good. But the unions really got behind this. This is the union. I admire it. So your union is a very active union. I mean, you have a whole bunch of different things. I know you have a website. I have to go look at your website. And I know I see all kinds of things about union members. I saw one of the guys that is part of the hockey contest. He's the only there from Lebanon that was listed was a firefighter from Lebanon.
Yep. And then last year was the inaugural Chad baseball game, and we had 3 members playing that. So we were the largest contingency in the state.
That's good. That's great. That's really good. Now, what kind of equipment do we have in the fitness arena now?
Right now we have a treadmill that we were able to get a good deal on. The CCBA gave us a good deal on that. So we have a treadmill, free weights. We have just an array of weights. Mostly, a lot of the stuff you're seeing now we're kind of pushing is body weight exercises and a lot of stretching. So our goal was to really keep a lot of empty floor space that guys could get in and move around, stay away from the big machines. So
and you talk about the combination, which I guess is the way to go, and you're setting a good example for all of us. So we all need to do better. I need to do better. The fact of diet, about the proper nutrition, and proper exercise regimen. In the program itself, what's the tenets of the program, of the training in terms of training fitness for firefighters? I mean, what's stressed then in terms of the training?
Like I said, stretching is big because some of the the conditions that we put our bodies into, and whether it's being on the roof of a burning house or even just trying to carry somebody out of their second floor bedroom who can't walk. You see a huge amount of career-ending back injuries, stuff like that. So a lot of stretching and core strength stuff, really.
Because I know that carrying a person or trying to help a person, I don't know. Sometimes people don't realize how difficult that can be, and the kind of technique you have, and then you're in the worst kind of condition trying to provide that. So it would be very easy to have back injuries and strains and different stressors, and like you said, there was a number of different experiences which could lead to other things too, in the strain of it.
And with the studies coming out recently, nationwide, municipalities are seeing that investing in a fitness program is saving them money in the long run between career-ending injuries, having to pay for disability, sick time, stuff like that. So it works out well for everybody involved.
I know that in the planning of the things that are coming up, one of the values of a community, a healthy community, a sustainable type community, is is healthy and wellness, being healthy and being well, so healthy, being physically fit. So this is a good example of a group of our people associated with our community engaging in that.
I think another thing we kind of try to work in, and this may not be intentional, but is just making the fitness more fun and more accessible, so it's not a rigorous, you don't want to do it every day. And then we have a lot of guys have different goals that are sort of fun, like we have a bunch of guys that are doing a Tough Mudder competition, which is kind of like a military style challenge. So there's always stuff that we're working towards that's just a fun challenge. We have a softball team sometimes during the summer, and so it's fitness for being on duty and being fit, but it's also just making it fun and the lifestyle.
So it becomes part of your life. It's just a very natural thing. Are there things that we should make mention of too? In addition, I mean, about the fitness program that we haven't mentioned so far, or anything else that we might come forward on?
No, I think it's going pretty well.
That's what I had. Yeah.
I know that we engage with the public a lot. I enjoyed a lot of the different events. Maybe you could talk a bit about some of the union engagements with the community in various ways. I know I was really proud of you all last summer when we had the flag in, the Patriot flag. I know you do many things like that. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, that was a big one. That was a lot of Firefighter Copeland is one of our guys, and he did a huge amount of work getting that in. And then the safety day was, I think you've talked with Inspector Paul, he's big in that, and Firefighter Copeland as well. So we try to do a lot of stuff where we get out and see people in the community when it's not at their house and whoever's sick and something's burning, something like that. So it's more positive interactions.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I know that people, I think rightfully so, look up to firefighters a great deal. I know children. I know when my children were growing up that was the big thing, was to go to firefighter events, open houses, and the presence of firefighters and their equipment, and to see and try to understand, and they were shown different techniques, in terms of helping children cope with situations they might find themselves in. And a lot of firefighters are right in there teaching that.
Right.
So that's really good. In terms of the union activity here in the near future, things that are coming up for you at either on a statewide or national level, important events.
We have our annual convention coming up, being held in Philadelphia, which a few members of the executive board will be attending.
Oh, good.
Getting some business done down there.
State convention.
Yeah, state convention's upcoming, and obviously, as you know, we're coming into negotiations with the city.
Yeah, we'll have negotiations, we're exchanging ground rules, and looking forward to that. And it'll be my pleasure to do that, to work with you guys. We're kind of running our last few seconds here. I think that from a firefighter's perspective, just as people that are in the profession, when people go this summer, I know, and when you see these situations, is there anything that just jumps out that you would say to people and their families? What should they be careful of? One thing, if you said one thing they should be careful of this summer, from a firefighter's perspective.
Wow, that's a tricky question. Just in general safety terms, be careful of.
I mean, there's so many things, but
Yeah,
I
there
wonder what you know, if I had my gut reaction, what would you say?
Take a CPR class. That would be my biggest recommendation, and hopefully we'll be able to offer you one before too long. But I think that's, in terms of how you can help somebody and save a life, that's probably the number one thing. And we get there quick usually, but it's the people that it really saved lives.
If somebody can start
on the
it,
street
then people with the more skills could have come and take over.
Within the last month, we had a gentleman who had a cardiac arrest in West Lebanon on Main Street, and a young man was there first, started CPR. The ambulance pulled up and actually had him continue CPR while we got our equipment ready, and he walked out of the hospital a few days ago.
Yeah, that's really terrific. Well, we'll close on that note. You know, it's not hard to go and take CPR training, and I think that the advice from the firefighters should be well taken. I have taken CPR training myself, and take a look at that in your family and in your neighborhood. If you do that, I think you might do a service for yourselves and your friends, your family, your neighbors. So, appreciate the firefighters here today. They're quite a group of people. Real proud to have them serve on our behalf here in Lebanon. So thank you again for being here.
Thank you.
Come by anytime.
All right. Thank you.